So good morning, welcome, and thank you very much for taking some time out of your day to join our webinar, where we're going to be discussing what a cloud or hosted telephone system is and essentially how this can benefit your organization. We've had a few run-throughs of this webinar. It's going to last approximately 20 to 25 minutes with some allowance for some questions you may have at the end. A couple of notes on the portal that you logged into, just in case you missed me before. It works a little bit like Windows. You can move around the boxes and maximize them to your heart's content. The technicians have assured me you can't break anything. If you want to pose a question straight to the presenters, you can do so by clicking on the Q&A box, putting your question in there. We'll try and answer them as we go along in the webinar. But if not, we've allowed a little bit of time at the end to answer some questions. Okay, so first of all, a brief introduction to who's talking today. I'm Simon Lister from Midshire Telecom. We're an award-winning supplier of telecommunications to businesses. We've been doing that successfully for almost 20 years. It's evolved from supplying cheaper telephone calls way back when to now being a one-stop shop for all your business telecommunications needs. Our sports centre, which is on the screen just now, that's based in the West Midlands, and our professional engineering resource, our feet on the street, they span the length and breadth of the country. We've also got Gamma on the call, and that's a name that you may or not have heard of. Gamma are one of the largest network providers in the UK and a leader of cloud telephone systems and also voice over IP, a term you've probably heard. Midshire have been working with Gamma throughout the last 20 years and are actually recognised as being one of their top level of partners, a platinum partner, due to our in-house service expertise. To give you some sort of analogy there, essentially we supply the cars and the service wraparound, Gamma providers with the motorways. Got a little showcase on the screen just now, some of the type of customers that we work with. We work with quite a large range of sectors, and I can see quite a lot of them on the call today, ranging from charities, schools and estate agents. We work with quite a large range of sectors, and although they work very differently, quite a lot of the telecoms challenges that they have are shared and are the same. So I hope you get what you need to out of this webinar today. So to set the scene a little, I want to take you through a couple of pain points, actual quotes from some of the customers that we've had over the last 12 months. So I'm going to talk through them and then provide a little bit of commentary. And then actually, when I hand over to Mark later, he's going to give you the answers. So the first one, I'm not able to transfer calls between people working from home. I end up having to take the number and a message and try to get hold of a colleague that might not be available. It sounds all too familiar. I've seen a lot of this through the pandemic. Because in general, businesses weren't really ready for remote working, they diverted calls to mobile and aren't able to transfer them to other team members. Answering a call, taking a message, passing the message on, calling back, no answer. It's all extremely time consuming and not, to be fair, a great experience for your customers, clients or service users, not to mention the potential for lost business. Okay, next. We don't have company mobiles, and I don't want my mobile number given to customers whilst working on the road or remotely. Yeah, absolutely. So presenting your personal mobile number when making outbound calls. So if you're at home trying to make outbound business calls but using a mobile, often personal, that can actually open up a can of worms of how your organization receives calls from clients in the future. Really what you want, I suppose, is you want your staff to present the exact same number that they would if they were sat there back in the office. The next one, I have an on-premise telephone system which takes 24 hours or more for changes to take effect. Well, first of all, I hope that wasn't our service desk. But if there's anything that can be taken from this pandemic, it's been a bit of a roller coaster with goalposts changing sometimes on a daily basis. I can remember listening to a briefing with Boris at 5 o'clock, walking in the next day and literally tearing up the plan that I'd made the day before. You know, that's caused businesses quite a lot of headaches because as leaders, we've needed to change the way that we work on the fly. Traditional telephone systems, they don't normally facilitate that so easy. Often you've got to contact your telecoms provider and they'll get a technician to dial in to make the changes you need. Or even worse, they have to send someone to site to make the change for you. The last one on this slide, home office set up for all of our staff will be expensive and messy with wires running through the house. I suppose this is related to the first point where not everyone was ready for working from home when we were all asked to do so. often sat on the dining room table or dressing table as I was. So trailing wires to routers or telephones and just general issues surrounding working effectively from home and coming up with a solution that didn't cost the earth. Hopefully, if some of these points are relatable to you or your organization, you're on the right webinar. So if I take that a bit stage further, these pain points, and take a more global view, we're speaking a lot to businesses and to understand what their challenges are and how we can help. Well, what are they saying to us? And we've come up with three points, and I want to just explore them a little bit more in depth. So greater flexibility of IT systems and communications. Well, why is this? So the impact of the pandemic meant a sort of near instant shift in where many of us conduct our daily business. Back in March 2020, our own service centre experienced a fourfold increase in customers just requiring solutions to enable them to work from home somewhat effectively, just as the lockdown kicked in. That could be something as simple as a USB headset, a phone power pack, help with diverts to those mobiles we talked about earlier, or a full replacement telephony solution to cope with the new demands of working from home. Like it or not, since then, many roles within organizations, they've been proven to be fulfilled effectively from a home office. And recent polls suggest that working from home will stay long after this pandemic. The greater demand for flexibility in our IT systems and communications, that's probably been there for some time, but COVID-19 has accelerated it or slammed the foot to the floor on the adoption since workforces have just been asked by government to work from home. So that makes a case for better broadband. And we're all working from home, so cue the back-to-back Zooms and Teams meetings and webinars just like this. You know, we all want faster speeds, right? But as a result of the shift in working practices, there's a much higher demand on faster and more reliable broadband, not only at the office, but also at home. Our own consultants who would normally meet face-to-face with businesses are now conducting more online and digital meetings than at any other time. I don't suppose that's any dissimilar to many of the people on the call today. That adds additional demands onto the connectivity. And over the last 12 months, we've seen some widely publicised issues on domestic-grade networks as demands have increased. I'm not going to mention homeschooling here because I've had a real good go at that and it didn't end well. But children being at home rather than at school has only increased the demand for better broadband suitable for work use. And we can help with that in Midshire. Thirdly, I'm going to cover off monitoring operational performance. With everyone working from home, how do you know how effective your team is performing? And are all of your customers reaching the right person to deal with their inquiry in a good time? Business owners and managers have found specific challenges in monitoring their all-round operational performance. Something as simple as, are all of my telephone calls being answered? Changing behaviours and the sort of nature of the pandemic means that we could be restricted from what we're all used to, normal practice for some time. So having measures in place to monitor all-round performance are in big demand. So what's the answer, you ask? Well, if you're working from home or remotely, then a cloud-hosted telephone system meets the need. Sure, a traditional-based telephone system that lives in your office can suffice, but it's really not designed for the sort of flexibility that's now demanded by a modern workforce. Midshire's HostX is part of a cloud communications platform that sits on Gamma's leading UK IP network. It's a platform built by Cisco, which hopefully is a recognizable name that you know and can trust. And the one in the UK on Gamma's leading IP network has approximately 560,000 users already connected to it. It's flexible, it's scalable, meaning businesses connected can range from ones with one or two, maybe a handful of users, to literally thousands upon thousands of users situated across multiple locations within one business. And I'm not going to steal his thunder, so to tell you more about this, I'm delighted to introduce Mark Grice, Senior Hosted Specialist from Gamma, to explain. Over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Simon, and good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all on this morning. So from my point of view, guys, what I wanted to do was really just sort of set the scene with regards to what is a hosted phone system. in basic terms, if you look at the old technology of copper telephone wires coming into the building, routed into the box in the server room, which then routes the traffic all the way across the business or the organization, that's the PBX, the public branch exchange. Essentially, what we've done is we've got that box, we've taken that box in the server room, and we've put it into our award-winning cloud secure infrastructure. Along with enhanced security, that then allows you and your organizations or your businesses to be able to manage this wherever you are in the world via a URL portal, which also means you can take advantage of using your phone system on the next generation IP handsets, mobiles, or even desktop applications with headsets and loudspeakers. You may be wondering why I've put a picture of Netflix on there for a business webinar this morning. But the reason that I've done that is because if you're old enough, like I am, to remember going down into your local Blockbusters, having a Blockbuster membership, going down, choosing that VHS with regards to which video you wanted to watch tonight. When the internet came in and new technology came along, that then became redundant because people like the Netflixes of the world came in, swooped up that accessibility of the films at a touch of a button. Well, in this analogy, Blockbusters are the on-site PBX copper telephone wires coming into the building, and we are the Netflix. That basically means that every time a new piece of technology becomes available, we're able to then plug that into your phone system to be able to make sure that you as customers are always on the right telephone system for you and your business needs. Not only then adding additional features and benefits, but also making sure that your phone system is secure, more importantly, of course. And something that I say to customers all the time, is a bit of a cheesy saying, but it's absolutely true, is that your phone system with HostX will only ever be 4 to 6 weeks old. The reason for that is because what we're doing is we're continually pushing down new technology, new features and functionality, but more importantly to you guys, for your organizations, the latest security features and patches that would go along to be able to make sure that your data is secure. As I've just taken you through, it is an award-winning hosted telephone system that has over 560,000 live subscriptions, and it is the leader in the UK, as Simon quite rightly said. This is hosted in the UK across 4 main data centers, which are all ISO accredited, which means that your service has an availability uptime of over 99.9995%. It's delivered over the internet and administered via our easy-to-use online administration portal, where anything you need to move, add, change, so on and so forth, will only ever be 3 to 4 clicks away. Changes that you make are instant, and they're no longer needed for an engineer to be called out and so on and so forth, like the old-style phone systems now. We then can connect that to IP handsets on your desk, mobile telephones via the mobile app, soft phones on your PC and Mac. We can even then take that a step further, integrate with your CRMs to enable screen popping, activity history. Works perfectly for recruitment firms, estate agents. But an example I'll use was last week, my daughter was off school with a sniffle. We had a test, and luckily it wasn't anything untoward. But I phoned up my school, and because they use this system, it pops up onto the receptionist screen and says, "Smart Grice, father of X Grice, and attendance record is X, and the latest COVID test was negative, and it was on this date." So that person knew a lot about me and my daughter before they even answered the phone. So it doesn't necessarily have to be someone who knows my daughter or knows myself. It was there and it popped up on the screen. It makes people about 15 to 16% more efficient in their daily roles. We then continue to enhance the solution, and some of the things that we've recently added, I'll take you through in a few slides' time. But this plays back into the strength of it being a cloud solution, new technology arriving all the time. So let's have a look at some of the benefits of HostX then, and the hosted HostX system. First and foremost, cost. Because there isn't a need for any on-premise hardware, then the cost to switch to HostX is a lot less daunting than you may expect. It's all based on a subscription model where you pay per user, per license, per month, therefore negating that bill shock that we may used to have had with old systems. Visibility and control. Being a hosted system, it allows the administrator to access the phone system via a URL remotely, which puts your business communications needs and your organization needs genuinely at the tips of your fingertips. Flexibility and scalability. Flexible because of its access anywhere functionality, and scalable because we understand your business needs to change. Therefore, we can easily talk this over with you and make those changes on your behalf if needs be. It has that continuously evolving cloud technology that I took you through a couple of slides ago. You genuinely are future-proofing your organization with technology like this. Probably one of the most important features of all within a particular HostX system is that it has built-in disaster recovery, which means that if there's ever a problem with the internet, be it whether because it's not working from home or actually when we logged on today, my internet went down, then what will happen is it will automatically follow a set of rules, which the guys at Midshire sit down with you, and it will follow those, go to mobiles, go to other sites, so on and so forth. So it has built-in disaster recovery at the core. Now, I thought I'd flash up just a list of features and so on and so forth. I'm not going to go through these today, you'll be pleased to know. But I think more to point out that it is a very packed, feature-rich solution, just to show you how feature-rich that is. Things on the screen that make it probably more feature-rich than other things out of the box would be things like unlimited auto-attendance, or you may have heard those called IVRs. So thank you for calling Midshire. Press 1 for this, 2 for this, 3 for this. There's an unlimited amount that you can take advantage of there. Page groups, unlimited hunt groups, how we get calls delivered to groups of people, can it follow people around, all the things that you'd expect, but it's an unlimited solution and a very feature-rich, packed solution as well. Looking at some of the bolt-ons or enhancements, I'll go through these briefly with regards to what's available for you. You've got desktop and mobile clients to enable you to make and receive business phone calls, literally from anywhere. CRM integration, sort of touched on that before, but that's perfect for click-to-dial, screen popping, activity history, return of investments, etc., etc. Call recording, hugely important at the moment, especially when people are starting to work from home, to be able to make sure that in that home environment, people are saying what you want them to, or what they should be saying. But also what we have is a fully compliant and encrypted call recording solution. That's fully GDPR and audit-proof, allowing you to be able to store call recordings from anything from 3 months, a rolling 3 months retention, all the way up to 7 years. Call reporting. If you take advantage of our real-time call reporting, that is what I call cradle-to-grave reporting. So from when a call hits your organization, no matter where it goes through and what route it takes and so on and so forth, you can absolutely track that. There's also some dynamic business intelligence reports, things like unreturned lost calls, where actually you can intelligently see when people are calling people back, whether that person has been called back just by a glance of the eye. Also have reports like things like wallboards, so that's perfect for how many calls are in the queue. For anyone from customer service teams, anyone from people that are on the phone, you need that business intelligence. That call reporting tool is very, very useful. And much more. There's also integrated unified communications into the HostX product. It sits on the same platform. And I think that's one major thing, that it sits on the same platform and it covers the main 9 pillars of unified communications. However, for those that are using Microsoft Teams, there's even an option to integrate into your business-grade phone system with the HostX Microsoft Teams integrator. If you're interested in knowing any more about that, specifically the Teams side of things, click the request a demo or request more information or request a brochure on your screens now, and we'll be happy to follow up after this. So let's go back to the pain points that Simon pulled out at the very, very start with regards to what people are seeing at the moment, and I'll see if I can answer them. So the first one, I'm not able to transfer calls between people working from home. I end up having to take the number and message and trying to get a colleague that might not be available. As Simon said, a hugely common pain point, this one. However, simply put, HostX takes those issues away. You're able to see who's available on a call, who's in a meeting at a glance just through the presence feature. If you want to transfer that call to someone who is available, irrelevant of geographical location, you can then do so either by a couple of touches of a button presses on your phones on the desk if needs be. If you don't have phones on the desk, you can do it by your mouse, a couple of clicks via the soft phone, or even on the mobile application if you're out and about or going on that daily walk. We don't have company mobiles at the moment. I want my mobile number to give customers working remotely. Yeah, okay, so this is when the mobile app really does come into play. Everything that you do from your IP phone or soft phone or mobile apps, so on and so forth, you can do on the mobile app, from making and receiving calls to seeing someone's presence. You can even send them an internal business message, instant message if you need to. I have an on-premise PBX which takes 24 hours or more to take effect. Absolutely. So with HostX, every add, move, change that you make is done instantly at network level, and the phone system changes instantly also. You're able to do this yourself, or one of the team at Midshire can do this for you. I can vouch personally that Midshire, the support team at Midshire, are one of the best by far in the industry, and they will help you along the way as well. Home office setup for our staff will be expensive and messy with wires running through the house. Absolutely. If you have Wi-Fi, you've got enough to work from home here. All the services that we've spoken about today run over Wi-Fi, and therefore that negates any needs for the wires to be run through the house and so on and so forth. This genuinely is a working from home solution. I think I answered those okay. Simon, what I'll do is I'll pass back to yourself now. Just carry on.
Thanks, Mark. Really appreciate that. And hopefully you guys on the webinar have found that useful, that overview. Just a reminder, if you want to learn any more about HostX, you can do so by clicking the Request a Demo button within the webinar window. That'll open up another browser window where you can book a meeting that's convenient for your time with one of our professional consultants. Finally, before we just skip to the Q&A, I think it's worthwhile mentioning that many of the pain points that we've discussed today could be caused by old BT ISDN telephone lines. And actually, the reason for bringing this up is that a recent survey showed that a quarter of businesses still didn't know about this and actually if they were affected. So do please talk to us if you're unsure about that, as we can check, no obligation, of course, and advise on it. To put a little bit of meat on the bones with that, BT announced some years ago that the old technology was going to be switched off. So if you still have those types of lines, you're going to have to move away from that by 2025, and they are on target for once. But there's never been a better time to migrate to a hosted telephone system and give that old technology the boot. Actually, if you've still got ISDN lines, you might even save quite a bit of money along the way, as ISDN is traditionally quite expensive. Okay, all right, quick Q&A. We've got a few questions that have come in. First of all, this one looks like it came in quite early. Mark, I'm going to give this one to you if that's okay. Is it easy to work from home?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, that's okay, Simon. Yeah, really good question. Yes, absolutely it is. I think I touched on it very briefly a couple of slides ago, but absolutely, as long as you've got Wi-Fi, you can use it via your PC, via headset, or one of the loudspeakers that I'm on today, basically, because it requires very little data. And as long as you've got a good Wi-Fi connection, then it will be absolutely fine to work from home. I'm currently in my home office. I've got a phone on desk. I've got soft phones. I've got mobile apps and so on and so forth. But I also understand that typically you just have one of those. But absolutely, it's really easy to work from home, especially with a soft phone or mobile application these days.
Okay, thanks for that. Okay, the next question, I think I'll take this one. So this all looks great, but I would imagine the cost to change is quite high. Yeah, I'll grab that one. No, because it's subscription-based, you don't actually need hardware for this solution, so you can benefit from not having to make that initial investment, and therefore it's not as expensive as you might think. Indeed, it's probably the easiest thing to do is to click a link for Request a Demo, and we'll give you some more in-depth sort of commercial numbers if you connect with one of our professionals. I think that's worthwhile. And actually, the next question on the list is, how do I request a demonstration to find out more? And yeah, absolutely, there's a link on the webinar suite for Request a Demo, which will take you out. Mark, sorry, I'm going to grab the next question as well. It looks like it's coming from a school, this one, actually. So this is a simple question. Is there an auto attendant? Yeah, absolutely there is. Multiple leveled auto attendants, unlimited in number. You can have as many as you want, and that's all included within the system. And if I make that a little bit relevant for a school, in the morning you would have option 1 for an absence line to report your child's absence, press 2 for information, and 3 to get to reception. I'm conscious of time. if you press 1, you leave a voicemail, and that gets delivered to an inbox of your choice, the voicemail that's left, so that someone can pick up the actual message, who's been absent, and what have you, when it's got a bit quieter. So unlimited auto attendance anyway.
Simon, sorry, just to interrupt. We've had quite a few questions come in, so I'll pick one out if you don't mind, and go through it. So one of them was, can I share, an early question, can I share contacts with Office 365 and Outlook? Yes, absolutely, you can have Outlook integration across the platform, and also Active Directory as well. Sorry, Simon.
Yeah, no problem. I'm going to pick up another one here. So I don't need to use a landline anymore, do I? Right, so all that you need is an internet connection in order to use your phone, an IP phone that can be plugged in anywhere, or the soft phone on a mobile or on a PC tablet of your choice. So you don't actually need the landline, but what you do need is good internet connectivity. Mark, do you want to grab the next one?
Can you use the cloud phone system outside of Wi-Fi area? Really good question. So that's when the mobile applications and so on and so forth really do then come into play. So for example, if I'm on my mobile app walking around my house or even in my garden, excuse me, and I jump in the car to go and get the children or whatever it is I'm doing, it will automatically switch off from my Wi-Fi over to my 3 or 4G service if I'm on that particular device. So absolutely, yes, you can use it outside of the Wi-Fi area, as long as there's a data connection, of course, so your 3G, your 4G, so on and so forth.
Brill. Okay, I'm going to cover off a couple of questions here. I've got two here. What is a roughly monthly cost for one individual? Do you know what? Rather than do that, just if you could just pop onto the request a demo and give us a shout on that, connect with, we'll share that commercial with you offline, no problem. I've got one from a school on old ISDN lines. If we were able to switch, what would be the time frame? Yeah, you can, as long as we got the delay, if there is any, is just getting connectivity in. You're a school, you've probably got some good connectivity in already. So in terms of deployment, really, really rapid. And let's get you off those old ISDN lines. I think what we'll do is get in touch with you after the webinar, more than likely. Mark,
so a couple that I'll take now as well. So the first was, just coming back on that mobile application point, first and foremost, was, there's been a few more questions coming. I've lost that now. With regards to the mobile application, can I do all of the features and functionality from the phone system? Yes, absolutely you can. And also there was a question with regards to the Microsoft Teams integration. To be able to talk about this in more detail, it's absolutely worth you pressing the button on your screen for us to follow up with more information afterwards. But the question was, can it share presence information with Microsoft Teams? I don't want my phone to ring if I'm on a Teams call. And absolutely, yes, it can. It shares the presentation between the two. And if you were to receive a phone call on your phone system when you're on a Teams call, it would have automatically already put your business phone system into Do Not Disturb. And that's one thing that differs us from the competition as well. So there's a lot more to talk about specifically when it comes to Microsoft Teams. So if you are interested in that integration, absolutely request more information and we will follow up after this.
Mark, there's one in there about data centers. Are they secure and accredited? Could you do a little bit of an elaboration on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, a really good question. So we at Gamma have over 8 data centers in the UK, and HostX is run from four main data centers. They are all ISO accredited, 27001, ND165, and all those things you'd imagine. We have all those stamps, and we're happy to send over security information and so on and so forth. But the way that they run are dual pod-based data centers. So all of them are running the same instance at the same time. So let's say that we had a problem within one, and over Christmas time we did have a problem in one. There was a fire, unfortunately, in one of them, but our service wasn't affected by that. The reason being is all we did is we just shut off the traffic into that particular one until it was sorted, and we routed through the other 3. The great thing about that as well is because we are running those instances differently, we're only ever run our network in the UK at 65%. capacity. If it gets to 66%, as it continues to do, as we continue to grow and grow and grow, thankfully, then what we do is we build a new pod in each of those data centers. So there will always be traffic or room for traffic on our network as well. With regards to some of the scale of size on that side of things, in the height of the pandemic that we're currently in, so I think it was April or May last year, we switched over 1.8 billion minutes on our network in a month. So it is an absolutely huge network, which absolutely goes with lots of work on making sure we maintain that. But if you want any more details in that, again, press the button and we will get in contact with some security information for you.
Brill. And yeah, thanks for the questions, guys. They continue to fly in. I got another one here. Can the handsets connect via Wi-Fi? Yeah, absolutely they can. And thanks for the question. So if you are used to having a phone, a physical phone, you know, not everybody wants an app on the mobile or on the desktop PC or laptop or whatever. Yeah, absolutely. So some of the devices actually have a Wi-Fi dongle that we plug in. So no need for any messy cables around the home. You can have your phone on your dining room table or whatever with a Wi-Fi dongle, and it'll connect perfectly over Wi-Fi, so you'll be able to use the phone as you would if you were sat at the desk. Thanks for the question, though. Really good one.
Lovely. I'll just pick out one more. Can the phones be plugged into all Wi-Fi boxes in people's homes? Short answer is yes. What we do have is, without getting too technical on today's call, the problem we normally have with home internet or residential internet is something called SIP ALG. I'm not going to go into that, so don't worry. But what that does is that sometimes blocks voice over IP solutions. What we've got built into our services is what we call SIP ALG bypass, which basically means that you don't need to worry about going into your router and doing things like even I won't understand with regards to changing ports, and you don't need to do that. Because we have SIP ALG pass through in there, or bypass, then yes, absolutely, if you're in a home residential Wi-Fi, as long as you've got internet connection, the calls will be able to get through.
Okay. I think I'm conscious of time, so I think we should probably just move on and really just thank you very much, guys, for coming onto the webinar, taking the time out of your busy days to come onto this. Thanks also to Mark and our friends at Gamma as well for making this event possible. Final reminder for anyone, there was a few questions that have just come in now. If you want to learn more, if you use the request a demo link within the webinar suite, you'll be taken to our website where you can put a convenient time in for when you can connect with one of us. Or actually on the screen just now is the free phone number that you could contact us if you wish to do so. And on that, the final thing I'd like to say is thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.